Hello, everyone, and welcome to the MMQB podcast. I am Matt Verderame alongside my co-host, Gilberto Manzano. We are coming to you live here on Wednesday, December 4th, here in the late morning as we are getting ready for Week 14. It's a pretty good slate of games, starting with Thursday night with the Packers, with the Lions. Obviously, a very important game in the NFC. We'll get to that game. We'll get to some other games. But first, Gil, how you doing, man? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm doing well, Matt. I started thinking, man, it feels like a long time ago since the Bears fired Matt Eberflus. You know, that debacle in the final minute there for the Thanksgiving scare the Lions got there. The Miami Dolphins might still be frozen in Green Bay. I don't know, but a whole lot happened a week ago, Matt.
I forget how it came up in the broadcast or if I read it or where I saw it, but the Dolphins had 3,500 pounds of cold weather gear brought to Green Bay. And the second I saw that, I was like, yeah, they're going to lose this game. Like, you're not prepared to play a football game if you're that focused on how cold it's going to be. And it was like, look, I know you're a California guy. I'm a New York guy, so maybe this is a little bit different for us. But like 25 degrees is not that cold. Like I mean, it's cold. Don't get me wrong. Like you're not going out and going swimming in it, but you're not freezing. It's not that bad. I was shocked when I saw McDaniel on the sideline dressed up like he was going to go sleep in an igloo. I'm like, it's not that bad, man. It's not -10. Like it's 25 degrees out.
That's easy for you to say, Matt. I would definitely be frozen, like Mike McDaniel. But yeah, your football players, and the funny thing, man, is like they're not all from Miami. They all grew up from different places. Yeah. That's the strange part.
That's the thing. You know, it's funny you said that. I said that on the radio to somebody like the day after. It's like, it's not like they all grew up in South Beach. Like Alec Ingold is like from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Like it's not, I mean, it's not like you're talking about high school kids who you're like, okay, you know, you're moving up, they're going up there to play a game. I get it. It's cold. I understand all that. The Dolphins might want to get used to that at some point. Like, guys, You're not going to play all your playoff games down the road at home. Like, you're going to have to go on the road sometimes. You think they would have learned this after last year? We had to go to Arrowhead. That game, I'll give to them. Like, okay, it's -1,000,000 at Arrowhead. I get it. But, like, some of these games, it's 40 degrees, and they look like popsicles. Like, guys, come on. And, like, Tyreek Hill's a perfect example of this. You played in Kansas City.
Yeah, what happened there?
Like, you were freezing in Kansas City. It's not like you played your whole career in Miami. Like, you were fine. Tua, I get it. Okay, you grew up in Hawaii. You played in Alabama. But, like, some of these guys, how are you this cold? How are you this incapable of doing anything in the cold weather? It's crazy to me.
Maybe we'll move the season from Miami, have the Super Bowl in June, and they'll be okay.
Yes. If every game is played south of the equator, the Dolphins are in good shape. Yeah, Thanksgiving was what it was. It was fine. The Bears still can't figure out how to call a timeout. And now Matt Eberflus doesn't have to because he got fired. Only after holding a press conference because the Bears are incompetent. And then we had Black Friday where the Chiefs should have lost that game. But or at least if nothing else, the Raiders could have lined up for a game-winning field goal. Now, Carlson was 0-3 in that game. It was brutal. So who knows? Maybe he misses it. They should have had a shot at it. I still, like, everybody's focused on the call and the fumble and the officiating. No one has properly explained to me why the hell the Raiders were running another play. Like, I don't know what the Raiders were doing. It was 3rd and 3 at the 32-yard line with 15 seconds left, if memory serves. The Raiders had no timeouts left. And I saw people after the game saying, well, they were probably going to center the ball, and then Carlson was going to kick it. I'm like, no, they weren't. Because if they had centered the ball, they would have run out of time. Like, it would have been 4th down. They couldn't have spiked the ball. And they wouldn't have had enough time to get the field goal unit out there. So that wouldn't have happened. And then Pierce after the game said, well, I wanted O'Connell to run around for a few seconds and throw an incompletion. What are you doing? Like, just kick the field goal. You can't defend for like 6 seconds? What is happening? It was the most bizarre decision-making. And then, of course, the Raiders are the Raiders. And they can't get on the same page. And Powers Johnson snaps the ball because Parnham hit him on the leg to signify to snap it. And O'Connell's not ready for it. And the Raiders have like 9 guys around the ball, and the only guy around the ball for the Chiefs was Nick Bolton, and Nick Bolton falls on it. It's an illegal shift, and they win. So, look, the Chiefs, are you in the camp of the Chiefs are fine and none of this matters, and they're just going to be who they are come playoff time, or are you in the camp of this team is fatally flawed?
I'm not sure I could give you an answer, Matt. I'm somewhere in the middle. I'll say this. I'm starting to get concerned, and part of me wants to be like, don't fall for it. They're going to be okay. They know how to turn it on, in the playoffs. They saved their best performances, for January. And they did it somewhat last year, but here's the thing where I get caught up, Matt. Like, I'm starting to, push myself into thinking this seems worse than last year, but they weren't 11-1 last year. They actually struggled to win games last year. The AFC West was actually a little competitive last year. If the Chiefs beat the Chargers, that's pretty much over right there for the AFC West title again.
It'll clinch the division.
Yeah, they'll clinch it. So, they just seem off there. You've been on this, for a few weeks now. The whole Xavier Worthy connection with Patrick Mahomes down the field hasn't been clicking. I keep thinking, okay, if you get that, you're okay. But is it a one problem fix away to being back to a dominant Super Bowl team? Or is it is a defense a problem? Because they've been pretty bad the last few weeks. Bryce Young went off on them. Aiden O'Connell went off on them. I'm not surprised about Brock Bowers, who was sensational in that game. But the tight ends have been a problem for the Kansas City. But part of me still wants to go with, like, it's going to be okay. Like you see teams like the Steelers and the Ravens. I don't know if the Chiefs are too worried about them. The Bills are a problem for sure. But it still seems like a 2-team race, and that's not really a big deal either.
So, look, I as someone who watches every snap of this team, like, they were worse last year. Last year was, I don't think people remember, they were literally last season trotting out Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore, Richie James, and MVS. And none of them could catch a pass. It was impossible how bad that offense was last year. They lined up offsides on offense to lose a game. I mean, it was just a joke. Now, to your point, though, which I think is a good one, defensively, this team the last couple of weeks has not been good. They're backsliding. Losing Jalen Watson in the corner is killing them. They can't play it on the other side. Now, they finally put in Joshua Williams over Najee Johnson, which I think is going to be a positive. How big of a positive, I don't know. But Joshua Williams is a better player than Najee Johnson is. They got back Charles Omenihu. He played well. He played half the snaps against the Raiders. He had 3 sacks in the game. I think that helps. Does that help enough defensively? We'll see. But I think it makes a difference. On offense, I'll tell you the truth, man. Their biggest problem right now, and it's going to have another look on Sunday, is their left tackle. Wanye Morris and Kingsley Suamataia have been a disaster. So now they bring in DJ Humphries, who's a Pro Bowl player coming off the ACL. He's going to come in. He's going to start on Sunday night. He's going to play this game. And I really believe if he plays well, I think this offense is ready to explode because they've got Hopkins, who's played really well for him. Worthy's open constantly. Mahomes is getting better on every throw with him now, except for these balls that are deep. At least the other throws are good. Kelsey's played well since starting out awful the first 3 weeks of the year. They've got Noah Gray, who's played well for him. They've got Pacheco back with Kareem Hunt. And they're getting Hollywood Brown back here within the next 3 to 4 weeks. So I think if they can block on the blind side, I think the offense is going to take off. I kind of fall into the camp that, like, I've just seen this team do this. And then they get in the playoffs and they come out of the phone booth and they hang 38 on some team. And you're like, all right. Because I still feel the same way you do. I still think it's them in Buffalo. And I think it's going to be those 2 teams in the AFC Championship game. And if you're asking me who I'm picking, where's the game? Neither one of them's lost at home this year. Like, where's the game? If it's in Buffalo, that's a tall task. Obviously, the Chiefs can do it. They went there and did it last year. But it's a tall task. If the game's in Arrowhead, I'm picking the Chiefs until the Bills prove they can beat them in a big spot. I've just seen the movie. I've seen how it plays out. Is it even a disadvantage that the Bills beat them in a weird way if they see each other in the playoffs? Because the Chiefs can make all those corrections and adjustments off of it. I don't know. I mean, that's kind of been the history with those 2 teams. The Bills beat them in the regular season, and the Chiefs beat them in the postseason. But it has been another regular season with the Chiefs where, look, they're 11-1. This isn't exactly a disaster, right? They're the best record in football, but they play with their food a lot. And, listen, the game, yeah, this is a good jumping off point. So let's just go right into Sunday night they play the Chargers. They're at home. The Chargers come into the game off of a weird win in Atlanta, but they won. Chiefs come in, again, off this Raiders game. Chargers are 8-4. Chiefs 11-1. Chiefs win this game, they win the division. Okay, for the 9th straight year, they'll clinch the AFC West if they win this game. What are you looking for in this game? By the way, Chiefs favored by 3.5.
Yeah, I know the Chargers are pretty trendy upset pick for the week because the Chiefs have been, winning these close games here and getting by, I guess, with some voodoo magic or maybe rigging the games. I don't know, whatever you prefer there when it comes to that.
It's definitely the latter.
Yeah, rigging or voodoo magic. I don't know, but and then the Chargers beat the Falcons, but in a way, I kind of want to say, well, Kirk Cousins, wanted so badly to gift him that game, but I'll give credit to the defense. That was a pretty good performance from Jesse Minster's defense, but I can't bring myself to pick the Chargers because they're just very thin. They have injuries right now. They need a lot of players to stay healthy to just keep pace with a good team like the Kansas City Chiefs there. I'm actually getting concerned for Matt McConkey. Every week he's getting hurt, and I think this week it seems like he, might
it's
be
up in the air if he's going to play.
Yeah, it's up in the air. Like, sometimes you're limited. You kind of maybe don't practice.
If he doesn't play, they're not winning this game.
Can you throw Will Disley the entire game? I know they're bad against the tight ends, but it's Will Disley. Come on. So you need Matt McConkey to help you out. No J.K. Dobbins. This is a very, well-coached team. They're going to try to run the football, but they couldn't really run the football last week either, and that was against the Falcons. So I can't bring myself to pick them as an upset pick here, and they're just too, they're thin. And then, I know you've been on this one, and you want to see more from Justin Herbert. I'm in that camp too. He had that great first half against the Bengals, a very quiet second half in that Sunday night football game. Again, Kirk Cousins and the defense for the Chargers was at pretty much the focal point for the game last week. I was at that game in SoFi Stadium for the Monday Night Football game against the Baltimore Ravens. I wanted to see a whole lot more from Justin Herbert, and I get it. You don't have Keenan Allen and Mike Williams anymore, and it's a rookie receiver in Matt McConkey and the tight end and Will Disley and Quentin Johnson who keeps dropping passes. But you're getting paid $55 million per year or $52.1 million per year. I kept watching that game like, why is he not completing passes in that second half? This game is still not over. You're supposed to be a great quarterback, and he couldn't do it. I get it. He needs to. Every quarterback needs help, but sometimes you got elevated the players around you, and he couldn't do it that game. So this could be maybe a big time game for Justin Herbert in prime time to will his team the victory, a shorthanded team the victory to beat the defending back-to-back champions. So that'll be a good storyline. I just don't see it right now, Matt.
So look, this game. The first thing I thought of, kind of to go back to what we talked about at the beginning of this podcast about another team, the weather in this game. It's December. What's it going to look like? Well, I'll tell you, it's actually not bad. It's going to be around 45 to 50 degrees at night.
I could handle that. If I was playing,
the Chargers, you're like, great. It sounds great. If McConkey doesn't play in this game or is severely limited, I don't think they can score enough. I don't think they can score enough points. Now, there's an argument to sit there and go, well, my God, the Panthers and Raiders went up and down the field in the Chiefs, so the Chargers can certainly do it. The problem is Dobbins is also not playing. He's on IR. And so then you start getting into this, like, okay, well, who's doing anything in this game? I mean, is there anybody? Quentin Johnston, I don't know. Like, can he catch? That's been a problem. I'm with you. Like, Will Disley is fine. He's Will Disley. Like, I just can't go into this game being like he's going to go off for $150. I feel like it would have to be one of these games the Chargers just force turnovers and grind out. And to the Chargers' credit, if you look at them, like that's how they've won a lot of these games. They win. They don't turn the ball over. They don't make mistakes, and they have been able to win that turnover battle. And the Chiefs will turn it over sometimes. I mean, they don't fumble very often, but Mahomes has thrown some picks. He's been much better recently. You do wonder though in this game, like if the Chargers can't win the turnover battle, and by the way, they're third in the league this year. They're plus 11. Okay, only the Bills and Steelers have been better. If they don't win the turnover battle, then they got to beat them straight up. And I don't know that they can do it. Like the first time these teams played each other, that was a game where Rashee Rice got hurt. And that was week 4. It's really early in the year. And Rice got hurt almost immediately. It was like early in the first quarter he got hurt. The Chiefs won that game 17-10, and the Chiefs were turning the ball over left and right in that game and still won. Like I I think the Chiefs are going to win the game. This smacks of the Chiefs. This is the game where everybody and their mother is like, tell you what, I think the Chargers are going to go in there. And then the Chiefs are like, that's nice, here it comes. And go off for like 450 yards of offense. And Mahomes is just zipping crossers all over the field. I don't think it's a blowout or anything because I think the Chargers are genuinely a good team. But I think it's something like 23-14, something like that, where the Chiefs just kind of handle their business and clinch the division. I give the Chargers a chance, but if McConkey's out, I really don't see them having enough juice to win the game.
Yeah, and those are great points. If you win the turnover battle, you have a great chance, and it can also lean on a very good defense. It's just, this defense got lit up by Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow. So how good are they really? And again, last week, great job getting the interceptions. They made the right plays. They get the 4 picks of Kirk Cousins, but Kirk Cousins is not Patrick Mahomes, and so those are very bad.
What is Underdog? Underdog is the place to play if you're a sports fan looking to win money while watching sports. With over 5 million happy players and $2 billion won, Underdog makes it fun and easy to cash in on all your favorite athletes' performances. Just call your shot by picking higher or lower on 2 or more players' stats. Underdog is for everyone, so you can make a play with only $1 or go big and win up to 1,000 times your money. So turn every touchdown into a win with Underdog. Underdog is the best place to cash in on all your takes this football season. Which players are going off? Which ones are ice cold? Make your picks in just a few taps and turn your sports opinions into real money. Try Red Zone Rush, a game that you're not going to find anywhere else. Just pick whether or not a player will score a touchdown by swiping right for yes and left for no. It's as simple as that. Plus, your entry will be automatically boosted and you'll get a 51% profit boost when you play. Join over 5 million fans that are already playing on Underdog with their Pick'em game, and you could win money by making entries with your favorite players. Underdog is the best place to play Pick'em, so sign up now and deposit using promo code MMQB to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. Now, I'm not a gambler, but I have friends who are on Underdog, and they love it because it's easy. You don't have to learn about all the jargon. You don't have to learn about overs and unders and stats and all this kind of different stuff. You can just pick higher or lower. You can just pick whether or not a team's going to score or not. It's a good intro app. Download the app today and use code MMQB to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. That's MMQB for $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. Every player, every touchdown. Just select higher or lower on Underdog. You must be 18 years or older, 19 in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 in Colorado for some games, 21 and older in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Are you concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369. Can
we talk about what the hell happened to Kirk Cousins in that game? Did you see those interceptions?
Oh, they're brutal. He had that one lob
in the end zone. They were like me playing quarterback. Like, what the hell was that? Oh my God!
And then you have Jameis Winston trying to top it on Monday Night Football.
I was watching the game, and I'm like, okay, the first one I missed in real time. I've seen it since, but I missed it in real time. So I'm like, all right. Then he throws just a brutal pick six, like the kind of a pick. Before the ball left his hand, you're like, if he throws this ball, it's just getting intercepted and run back for touchdown. Like, the guy in the Chargers, forgive me, I forget his name, was looking right at Cousins, just standing there. Like, you'd almost see in his body language, like, is he really going to throw this? And Cousins like, damn straight I'm going to, and just wailed it right at him. And the guy catches it and runs it all the way back. Then they get down to the red zone, and it's 17-13. You're like, all right, touchdown here, you take the lead. And Cousins steps out of his pocket, has all the time in the world, and it like lobs the ball to the back of the end zone. And it was, again, one of those deals where you're like, when he threw it, you couldn't see where the ball was going to go. And you're thinking like, somebody's got to be so unbelievably open for him to throw the ball like that. Like, there must just be a layup of a touchdown. The camera pans, there's 4 Chargers just standing there waiting for the ball to come down. It was if you found out Cousins bet the Chargers money line, you'd be like, okay, that makes more sense. It was insane how bad he was in that game. Normally you see 4 interceptions, and it's 2 of them are because it went through a guy's hands or got tipped at the line. Nope, just horrific throw after horrific throw. Made me in the fourth quarter. I actually tweeted, I'm like, they should bring in Penix. Like, just what the hell? I'm not saying keep him in permanently, but like, it can't hurt. Like, see what this kid can do for a quarter. Like, this is impossibly bad. Not great. Not great.
No, and then I know Cousins has to play that revenge game against the Minnesota Vikings, who are also very aggressive, and you might get a bunch of turnovers. So maybe it is time for Michael Penix Jr. I'm with you, Matt. Especially after that game, I think they played the Raiders, Panthers, Commanders, and one other so-so defense I can't remember. But it might be a good time to put in Penix Jr. in there.
Also, one thing too, and like I'm not like. Hell, I'm not going to couch this. Raheem Morris, buddy. Every time they were in short yardage, second half of that game, they took Bijan Robinson out. Can you just hand off to Bijan Robinson on 3rd and a yard? Like, it seems like a good idea, good strategy. They had a play where I think it was third. It was a 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. They ran like a jet sweep to one of the receivers, and the guy just got killed for like a 4-yard loss. They couldn't block it. I'm like, you have Bijan Robinson. You got a great interior. Like, hand off to Bijan. And then they showed, like, Bijan Robinson just standing on the sideline next to him. I'm like, what are you doing? It's like when I watch the Chiefs and it's 3rd and 9 and they throw some screen pass. I'm like, you have Mahomes. Just let him take a 5-step drop and throw the ball. Like, what are you doing? Sometimes we all have paralysis by analysis. It happens. I don't care who you are. And I respect that happens sometimes. Like, I understand. But when you have 3 or 4 times in the same game, you make a call like that, at some point, man, like, don't be the smartest guy in the room. Like, just, hey, look, we got Bijan and we need 3 feet. Like, let's just hand off. No, let's not. It's just, I don't know, man. That game was baffling in every possible way. Another game that, of course, was baffling last week, we already kind of touched on, the Lions and the Bears, where the Bears just couldn't figure out that they were given the gift of time and they returned it. The Lions win the game. And, look, I'm not going to sit here and criticize the Lions. The Lions have smoked everybody all year long. Like, fine, they had to hold on to the game, whatever. The defensive injuries for the Lions are I feel like as big of a storyline as they need to be. Like, we're getting to a point of critical mass here with the Lions. I just don't know. At some point here, it's going to matter. It's going to catch up. This Thursday, they play the Packers, of course, also played on Thanksgiving, kicked the crap out of the Dolphins. The Packers are 2 back in the division. They, of course, lost at home to the Lions last month where it was raining and Goff played very well. Do you have the Packers going in here and having a real shot at the upset, or do you think the Lions handle business and essentially put the Packers into a wild card mode going forward?
Yeah, this is one upset I can get behind. And, like you mentioned, there's a bunch of injuries for the Lions, and it hasn't caught up to them. The Bears are the Bears, and it was a close game, too. So I'll give Caleb Williams actually was impressive at times in that game until the debacle at the end. You gotta know where the clock is at that point. But there's just too many weapons there with Green Bay, and they have a good running game too. I know Josh Jacobs didn't have the best game against the Miami Dolphins, but it didn't need him on Thanksgiving night to win that game. So if you're running the football, if you're beating down this thin defense and wearing them down, that opens up the passing game for Jordan Love, and he has a bunch of weapons, as we know, with Jaden Reed and Christian Watson and Dontavius Wicks and Tucker Kraft. So I could keep going on and on for that team. So I think this could be a game. It may be a game that Jordan Love needs to show people, you know what, he is worthy of the hype. He is worthy of, one day being an MVP candidate. He is worthy of the money that he got in the offseason after one good year, and a very good year, but it was still 1 year. And you see a lot of these teams make adjustments in that second year for him, and he's been up and down at times, but, for the most part, he's still been very good. But, I keep going back to the other big-time losses. You lost to the Eagles in Brazil. You lost to the Vikings. You lost to the Lions. So you get the Lions again, maybe get a signature victory here. I get it. You beat down the 49ers and the Miami Dolphins the last 2 weeks, but those are the Miami Dolphins, and the 49ers are not the same team as they were in February. So I think for me, I'm going to go with Jordan Love here. Let's see if he comes through. But I think for him, this could be a nice game to show people, he's worthy of all the hype. He's worthy of that money that he got in the offseason too.
Yeah, I think this is a big game for Jordan Love. Listen, this is a game where if you're the Packers and you win this game, you're suddenly at least like in play for the division. You're probably not going to win it. You'd still be a game back, and you already lost a game to the Vikings earlier this year. So like the division record thing's working against you, all that stuff. But if you win the game, you at least keep yourself alive in the division. And on the flip side, this is a weird game because normally you're sitting at 11-1. You're in pretty good shape for everything. The Lions are losing. Like if the Lions lose this game and then they win out and the Eagles win out, and the Eagles, by the way, play nobody the entire rest of the year outside of Washington, okay, and Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh's at home. If Detroit loses this game and Philly wins out, Philly's the 1 seed. Philly beats them out. Like, the Lions have to almost win out here to be the 1 seed, unless you think Philadelphia is going to lose. And Philadelphia's schedule again. I mean, you're talking about the Panthers, the Giants, the Cowboys, the Steelers at home, and then at Washington. Okay, tough game. This is a massive game for the Lions. Like, I think this is the one thing. Like, Kansas City is not guaranteed the 1 by any stretch in the AFC as the Bills are breathing down their neck. But pretty much the worst case scenario for them is the 2 seed, unless they completely fall apart. Detroit could be the 5 seed. Like, Detroit could lose the division. The Vikings are a game back. They're playing the fighting Kirk Cousins this weekend. Like, who knows? So it's a huge game. I think the Packers are going to give them a really good game. Like, if you said to me you got to pick it, I'd pick the Lions just because at this point, how do you pick against them? But I can see the Packers going in and win this game. I wouldn't be surprised if the Packers win it. I think it's going to be a lot of points on both sides. I think the Lions are going to score their points. But on the flip side, man, I mean, like I said, we're talking about so many injuries. Like, I wonder if the Lions can withstand it. It's just become a crush of guys on defense who aren't going to be there. It's hard to overcome that for a long period of time. You can overcome it for a week or two sometimes. It's hard to overcome it for a whole, a month, 2 months. It becomes very difficult.
And to go off of that, Matt, like a lot of people are worried about the Chiefs and making them back to the Super Bowl. Like maybe the Lions have the more difficult path because, like you mentioned, if they lose a couple games, they could easily be the 5th seed.
Yeah.
They still have to play Minnesota potentially in a playoff game, Green Bay in a playoff game, the Eagles in a playoff game. That is not an easy road to the Super Bowl to New Orleans for the Detroit Lions. I get it. They've been a juggernaut. They've played perfect through most of the season, but they have to play perfect for the rest of the way and obviously win out in the playoffs to make it to the Super Bowl. So, in a way, I have more concern about the Lions because of the path they have in the next 2 months here.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy. I mean, they play the Packers and they've got the mini bye before they play Buffalo next week. And that game's in Detroit as well. Speaking of the Bills, I'll get to them now. Look, they absolutely hammered the Niners. They clinched the AFC East for the 5th straight year. They look great. You could argue that they played the best ball in the league the last 6 weeks or so. They are on the road. They are taking on the Los Angeles Rams. We'll see if they get Kincaid and Coleman back this week. It remains to be seen. Of course, the Rams have gotten healthier as time has gone on here. They got Nakua back, got Kupp back. Not that their health is perfect, but it's better than it was earlier in the year. The Rams are 6-6. They're a game back in the West of Seattle, who they beat in Seattle earlier this year. So the Rams, not in terrible position in the division. The Bills, of course, fighting for that 1 seed, guaranteed a top 4 seed at least, if nothing else. I don't know how you feel about this game. First of all, are you going to this game?
No, I won't be at that one.
Okay. I think this could be a very odd game. And my reasoning is the Bills are kind of in that weird trap game spot. They're coming off a win in the division. It's a national game, 49ers in the snow. Next week, they play the Lions. CBS is going to be on location for the game, all this stuff. The Rams, it's at SoFi, which, how many Bills fans are at that game? I'd imagine a decent amount, right? But the Bills have got to come all the way across the country and play this game before they go back and then play Detroit. Bills are still a little bit beat up here. The Rams need this game. They need the game. They're 6-6. We already talked about their standing in the division. I just wonder if this is a game where the Rams are just like absolutely everything's on the table, kitchen sink, here it comes. And we saw a game like this with them earlier in the year when they played the Niners at home. And the Niners were rolling and they were healthy and the Rams beat them. And the Rams had just put everything out. Stafford played a great game. They finished with a flourish at the end of that game. They won. I wonder if this is a little bit of a trap game for Buffalo. And it's a game where the Rams just are like, look, we have to win everything. A-plus game plan, all of it. Do you see a scenario like that, or do you think the Bills just go in there and take care of the Rams?
You know, the Rams also had that upset win in Week 8 against the Minnesota Vikings on Thursday Night Football. You know, very impressive.
True. Yep, another good one.
But I think I'm going to lean on the Bills here because, you know, they just feel like a 6-6 team. Like, I know a lot of people say, oh, they have Sean McVay, they have Matthew Stafford. This team won a Super Bowl in 2021. They have some great young players, and they kind of feel like the 49ers were like, they've been to a Super Bowl. They have, you know, Kyle Shanahan, they have Brock Purdy and a bunch of weapons, but the 49ers are 5-7 because they're 5-7. It's not 2023, it's not 2021, or whatever the past few years these teams have done. And I'm starting to think the Rams are just not a very good team. They're a mediocre team. And, you know, I want to go back to that game. So they beat the 49ers. I want to go back to that game to they beat Minnesota. But that was already in Week 8. And they had a game where they kept it close with the Raiders at home.
Right.
They laid an egg against the Dolphins at home. So who really are you, 2024 Rams? I can't figure them out. For a second, I thought they might be the team of last year where they won 7 of 8 to end the season and make it to the playoffs. You know, they have some great first, second-year players, but they've been carrying this team, actually, because Matthew Stafford's been up and down. The offensive line has not been very good. They have a 6th-round pick, rookie center in Bo Limmer, starting for the O-line. If one player gets hurt, this offensive line, goes to crap. I guess I could say crap here, right?
I'm gonna say
I was going to say, it's better than the other word. And then, you know, there's games where Sean McVay doesn't feed Kyron Williams and he wants to get a little too cute. And I guess when you get cute, sometimes you get these great plays for Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp and DeMarcus Robinson. It's just they're very inconsistent. And I feel like when you're a mediocre team that's very inconsistent and you play one of the big boys, one of the top teams, you're going to get exposed, which happened 2 weeks ago on Sunday Night Football against the Philadelphia Eagles where Saquon Barkley ran all over them. And I want to go back to point and say, you're that team. You're that team that can't hang with the top teams, with Detroit, Philadelphia, and Buffalo. So I can't go into this upset here. I know people are going to pick them. Some people will because it is Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford, and they're at home. But the Bills are just a better team. They're on a different level, and I think they're going to show that on Sunday. Not Sunday Night Football, but 1:25 p.m.
Yeah. I think, all that's fair. All that's totally fair. They're not as good as the Bills. They're not even close as good as the Bills. They have been very odd when they've played good teams this year. Other than that Eagles game, which you're right, the Eagles took it to them. They took the Lions to overtime in Detroit. Yeah. They beat Minnesota. They beat San Francisco. They went to Seattle and won. Like they're bizarre. It's almost like they played better against good teams other than the Eagles game. I just have a weird, I just wonder in this game if this is just one of these games with them where it's like, gotta win it, gotta have it. And one thing I will say with the Rams I do like, they're really good up front defensively. You know, Fisk has been great. Verse has been great. You know, you talk about Kobe Turner, Byron Young. Like, these are young guys who are playing really good football. Now, the question I have with the Rams is the back end. Can they cover? No. You're right. That's the thing, right? Like, if they're going to win this game, it's going to be because of that front. It's going to be because that front causes enough problems that Allen can't just sit back there and throw the ball. And, you know, we saw that when Houston beat the Bills earlier this year. That's how they won the game. They got a bunch of pressure. Because they don't have a great secondary themselves. Stingley's a good player, but they don't have a great secondary. And, they were able to stymie him. It's going to be very interesting. All right, let's move on to some other games this week. So, look, before we go anywhere else, I got to bring them up because the Jets are at the Dolphins. Two-parter here. One, brief one, I guess. Are the Dolphins still hopeful for the playoffs, or have we gotten to a point where it's like, yeah, that's not going to happen? And secondly, the Jets, Aaron Rodgers, Netflix series coming out, Enigma. What would it take for you to watch that?
I think I would rather watch another Miami Dolphins cold game and just see them, struggle for a little bit. It could even be 50 degrees and they'll probably still struggle. Yeah, no, I don't think I care for watching the Aaron Rodgers documentary. And I like, sports docs. I always check them out on HBO or Netflix or whatever it is. And I enjoy it. I'm a nerd for stuff like that. But yeah, I don't really want to see Aaron Rodgers going into darkness or whatever. And he talks about it so much already that I think I already seen the documentary. But no, Matt, I would rather see Miami Dolphins playing in another cold weather game.
I don't think SI's got enough money in the coffers. I mean, hell, we can talk, but I don't understand why anybody would watch this. Like, I just don't. And I shared that opinion on Twitter and had a certain segment of the population just start screaming at me. And I was like, it's not political. I don't care. Like, they're 3-9 and he's been awful. Who cares? Like, the spiritual journey he went on. Like, I don't know. I mean, God bless the guy. Good for him, man. Like, if he's found some peace in his life, that's great. But like, it would be a much more interesting story if it was like a redemption arc. Like, he tore his Achilles, he rehabbed it, and then like he played great coming out of that, right? And then it was like, okay, and on top of that, here's this personal growth he had with it. Okay, like, whether you're interested or not, at least that's more of like a reasonable story. What is the storyline behind he blew his Achilles tendon out? He's done a lot of weird crap in the offseason, then came back and was terrible. Like, I would rather, can we just get a 3-part series on him just not showing up to mandatory minicamp?
Beating Egypt?
I'll watch that. Like, let's just film his vacation in Egypt and then also like splice in video of the Jets being like, where the F is he? Like, that I'm here for. Make that a 10-part series. I'm all for that. But like, I don't care that he like went off and did some herbal thing in like South America. I don't begrudge him for it. I just don't care. And I saw the trailer yesterday, and I'm like, I just can't do it. I can't do it. And like, I'm not gonna lie to you. Look, I always try to keep it real. Like, there's a part of me also with him. It's like he has spent so much time over the last handful of years complaining about the media and complaining about I'm always under the spotlight. You just signed on for a 3-part series on Netflix and you narrated the trailer. What are you talking about? I don't ever want to hear this again for the rest of time. Like, the media. You do a weekly spot on the McAfee show, and now you're narrating your own trailer for the Netflix. It's not like you didn't agree to do this, and they green-lighted it anyway. Like, you're an active, willing participant, obviously, in this entire thing, which is fine. Like, if you think that's something you want to look back on, and cool, great, man. Hell, how many people get a documentary done about him? That's fine. I can respect that. But then I don't want to hear one more word out of him ever about the media and this and that. And then the other part that kills me is he spent so much of this summer talking about, we got to eliminate distractions. We got to be focused. We're going to be in. And he was sitting here and he was filming a Netflix documentary and he's in Egypt while the rest of the team's practicing. The Jets kill me. The Jets there is no end in sight for what I would believe with the Jets. If you told me that like this entire year, Woody Johnson's just been filming like a day-to-day like journal entry for himself, being like, we remain terrible. I don't know what to do. Might fire someone today. And this is like a 60-part Netflix series. It's coming out in September. I'd believe it. Like, anything's on the table with the Jets. It's amazing. And then, no, I don't think the Dolphins are a playoff team. But I mean, it's unbelievable.
Very quickly.
Yes, the Jets are just a gift that keeps on giving.
Real quick, man, I just pictured the Netflix executives getting in a meeting before maybe like a month ago and saying, should we still air this? They're like 3-8 right now. They're 3-9. What are we doing here? But I just do it. It could be chaotic and people will enjoy it, and I just put it out there. And one more thing, I'm actually interested in watching Hard Knocks in season because of Mike Tomlin, who doesn't want to do it, but somehow got forced into it. And now it's telling people, get this crap off of me, get these mics off me, shut the hell up. I want to see all that.
I love that in the trailer they showed Kevin Stefanski talking to the Browns in like a meeting room. And he was like, You guys want to make the playoffs? Let's see those hands. Like, of course, everybody like sheepishly puts up their hand. He's like, congratulations, you're in the playoffs. We got to win every game. And then they immediately go lose to Denver. It's like, I don't know, man. It's not good. It's not good. But yeah, I'm with you. It should be funny to watch Tomlin, who absolutely hates doing any of this stuff. I appreciate that he was asked in the presser if he was going to watch it. He's like, absolutely not. And the Steelers PR was like, all right then. All right, that's it. Like, all right.
Don't watch it.
Oh, God. It's great. It's great. I don't know. By the way, on a complete aside, so I think it's safe to say Rodgers isn't going to be back with the Jets next year. I'm thinking that's probably a pretty good bet.
Yeah.
Where is he going? We've talked about this before, but like, do you think he's a starting quarterback next year somewhere?
I'm going to say no, but there's always one team that gets a little desperate out there. And we know it. There's not, 32 very good quarterbacks out there, but he might not be 32. He might be 35, 40. I don't know. The thing here, Matt, is if Aaron Rodgers is willing to wait for somebody to call him, maybe be Joe Flacco and get off the couch and win a comeback player of the year.
Right, somebody gets hurt in week 7.
Yeah, somebody gets hurt and you come in. But I don't think he's going to do that. But then again, he's doing Netflix documentaries. He might be willing to try anything.
Time.
Yeah, he got time now.
Yeah, okay. He as well as the Bears, he's been given the gift of time.
Yeah.
The problem is neither one of them using it wisely. Like I am with you. Like, I think the best move for him if he wants to keep playing is to do what you just said. Like, just wait and wait it out. But if he decides, nope, I'm going to go somewhere right away. I'm with you, man. Like, I don't know. Where's he going? Now, if you want to just argue, hey, listen, he's going to go play for some team that is god-awful. Okay. He wants to go start for the Raiders. Okay. Does Devontae Adams get traded back then? Like, is it just like a package deal? It's a tough break. I mean, is it some team like the Titans who just don't believe in Levis and are like, I guess, like, for a year? But if you're Rodgers, like, why? Like, you don't need the money. Not to talk about our man's finances, but I believe, like, that's a pretty safe bet. Like, I mean, he just got more money from Netflix. I don't think he was doing that pro bono. Okay, like, you don't need the money. You've won a Super Bowl. You are a first ballot Hall of Fame. Like, despite this year with the Jets, I mean, the guy's walking into Canton, rightfully so. What is the point? What is the point? To go play for the Raiders and just get destroyed and go 4-13? Like, what? I just don't see it. Like, if I'm him, I'm not playing for a team I feel like I can't compete with. I can't compete with these teams. So I don't know, man. I'm with you. Like, if I was him, I'd just ride it out and see if there's an injury or whatever. But short of that, I don't see him going anywhere where, like, he can do something meaningful. I don't see it.
Yeah.
All right. Lastly here, let's go to the NFC West. Seattle's at Arizona. Seattle 7-5, Arizona 6-6, Rams 6-6. Very tight division. Seattle and Arizona playing for the second time in 3 weeks. Seattle won the first game in Seattle. If they win this game, they're up 2 with the breaker on the Cardinals. Cardinals are in very tough position. If the Cardinals win this game, all of a sudden they split the season series and they're tied, and it's a match race going down the stretch. Thoughts on this game? Do you like Seattle to sweep Arizona? Do you like Arizona to split?
I'm going to go with Arizona, but I'm going to use my time to talk about Kyler Murray because it seems like nobody wants to talk about Kyler Murray because he plays for the Arizona Cardinals. But is he a legitimate franchise quarterback? Because the way the offense treats him, Jonathan Gannon treats him, and Drew Petzing treat him, it's like he's out there with guardrails or training wheels because anytime they were in 3rd and long in Vikings territory last week, they settled for a field goal. Here goes James Conner for a run, or here's a quick throw to Trey McBride. You have Kyler Murray and all this kind of backyard stuff, magician thing that he had the last few years. I get it. That did not do him any favors. They didn't really win a lot of playoff games or football games overall. But something tells me they don't trust the guy. And when he had opportunities or when he was forced to throw the football, 2 interceptions, 1 interception to end the game against Minnesota. So is Kyler Murray like really that good? Is he just an average quarterback who's very mobile? I can't figure the guy out because why is Marvin Harrison Jr. not doing well? When he got that touchdown last week, man, he seemed so relieved, like, oh, finally the ball came my way. This safe, boring offense here finally remembered me. It's not Trey McBride getting a couple of dump offs here the whole game. So I don't know. They're a very frustrating team to watch. They are definitely Jonathan Gannon is coaching his butt off. But when you pass on that 4th and goal and you kick the field goal, I knew they're going to blow that game and lose it. It was a 6-point game right there. They don't have that killer instinct. You saw it coming. So something tells me they like playing safe. They're enjoying being a winning team after the crap they've been through the last few years. But you have a talented offense, and it's very frustrating to watch.
Yeah, look, I am with you. Like Murray this year, 17th in yardage, 19th in touchdowns. Like he's limited his picks, only 6. He ran a lot earlier this year. Like had games of 57 yards, 59 yards, 83 yards, 64 yards. His last 5 games, 19, 6, 21, 9, 48. Like 48's better, but like he's not running as much. He's got 1 touchdown, 3 picks in his last 2 games. Both losses to Seattle and Minnesota. I am picking Arizona as well because I like them at home in this game. I think this game, they're desperate. They got to have it. They lose this game, they're pretty much cooked. But to your point, yeah, look, Murray's got to play well in this game. Like, they've run the ball great this year. James Conner has been awesome. He got himself a contract extension. Good on him. But they need to do more in the pass game. McBride's been great. But oddly enough, doesn't have a touchdown this year. Like, 781 yards, no touchdowns. Harrison has 7 touchdowns, 606 yards. And then Michael Wilson's been disappointing, 416 and 3 touchdowns. Like, if they're going to win this game, I think it is going to be because the offense has got to step up here. Because I got to tell you, really quietly, they're good defensively.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be. If you look at them by talent, you're like, how the hell is this team any good outside of the safeties? Defensively, though, if you look at them, they're getting it done. They held Minnesota 23, and that was with the last second touchdown. They held Seattle to 16, and that was with a pick 6. Like, Seattle didn't even scroll out on offense. Before the bye, they had 3 of their 4 wins against the Chargers, Dolphins, Bears, and Jets. They only gave up a touchdown in 1 of those games. Like, they've been awesome defensively. Their problem has been that their offense the last couple of weeks has gone into hibernation. They need to come out of it. I agree with you. I'm believing in the Cards. I'm going to take Big Red in this game, but I'm a little worried about them. If they lose this game, they're pretty much finished. And it becomes a match race then between Seattle and the Rams. All right. Unless we want to talk about Saints-Giants, that wraps it up. And ain't nobody want that.
No,
No, everybody's good. The Giants and the Saints most of all. What's going on, man?
Yeah, last night I got with my family. It was my sister's birthday. We had sushi, but Matt, my family, I don't know if you would like, going to a dinner party with my family on my side. I have 3 sisters and my mom. They love to, get ready. So they take maybe 3-4 hours to get ready. And by the time we get to the sushi place, ready. Yeah, a lot of getting ready. It's like almost 9 p.m. and all the workers want to close and go home. And it's like, okay, yes, please serve this family of 7 here because we want to ruin your night here. So that's always a little awkward, but it's always a good time to spend time with my family. But yeah, that's always the frustrating part.
Yeah, I thankfully I don't think my family's ever taken that long to get ready to do anything. Thank God. Yeah, man, I hear you. That's a lot of preparation.
Yeah, I was hungry for most of the night. I was waiting a lot.
I don't think my family took that long to get ready, like before my wedding. So that's a lot. It's a lot. I can appreciate. Yeah, nothing new here. Just got the Christmas decorations up for the most part, and I've been going like a 2-month ordeal here with my back, which is like getting better, but is also like very frustrating and like isn't linear. And the other day I went to a chiropractor for the first time. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna try it. What the hell? This guy was literally jumping on top of me and like cracking. He took all these X-rays and I'm like, yeah, your problem is not you have a muscle pull. You have 3 vertebrae out of place. I was like, oh,
whoa, okay.
And he's like, I'm gonna get him a line. I'm like, okay. This guy, I mean, man, it was like an assault basically. But I went 2 days in a row and I got to go again tomorrow. And I'm going 3 times next week as well. And he was just like jumping on me. He's like, "Man, you're tight. We're gonna get it right though." And I'm like, "Oh my God, okay." Right. And as he's doing this, I'm like, "I'm gonna be in traction. Like, there's no way I'm coming out of this." And then they do the old neck crack thing, which I've never had happen to me before. I gotta tell you, it feels great. But he did it, and I was really sore for like an hour. And I'm like, "This guy destroyed my back. Like, I'm screwed." Like 80% better. After 2 days of this. So still get some cramps in my lower back and still but like certainly functional. So now I'm oddly looking forward to just getting jumped on and basically thrown into a wall tomorrow. I'm like, this is great. This guy's just going to beat the crap out of me. Feel good. Feel real good. So, yeah, that's where I am. But in any event, our editor is calling me as we speak. So for Gilberto Manzano, I'm Matt Verderame. This is the MMQB podcast. Thank you for watching and or listening. Appreciate each and every one of you. Good luck to your teams in Week 14. We will be back next week as we head for home in the NFL regular season. Take care.